Everyone knew John Wayne Gacy as Pogo the Clown. He entertained kids, helped politicians, and ran a business. But behind the face paint was a monster. A man who lured young boys into his home and never let them out. This is the story of how America's friendly clown turned into one of the most sadistic serial killers in history. It begins in a quiet Chicago suburb where laughter would turn into screams, and a clown's smile would mask unspeakable horror. Welcome to the nightmare of John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. Born on March 17, 1942, Gacy had a rough childhood. His father, an alcoholic, beat him regularly and called him names. He was never good enough. Gacy desperately wanted love and approval but got only pain. He learned to hide his feelings behind a fake smile. Even then, something dark was growing inside him, twisted obsession. He started having violent thoughts, but he never told anyone. Those early years didn't just scar him, they shaped him into the man he would become. A man no one would suspect. A killer hiding in plain sight. In the 1970s, Gacy created the perfect disguise. He became a respected businessman, married with kids, and performed at children's hospitals as a clown. He even took photos with the mayor, but all of it was fake. Behind that smile, he was luring boys to his home, promising them jobs or money. He used charm as a weapon. Everyone trusted him. No one asked questions. That's how predators hide. Not in dark alleys, but behind bright smiles. Gacy didn't just build a life, he built a trap. Dozens of innocent boys would fall into it. It was 1972 when Gacy claimed his first victim. A teenage boy never made it home. Gacy had handcuffed him, claiming it was a magic trick. But it wasn't. He raped him, strangled him, and buried the body in his crawl space. This became his routine, a ritual. Gacy called it the handcuff trick. Once you were in, there was no escape. The killings became addictive. One after another, and he got better at hiding them. Neighbors heard strange noises. Some even smelled something foul. But no one imagined the truth bodies beneath their feet. Under Gacy's house was a secret graveyard. The crawl space held over 26 bodies, stacked one above the other. The smell of decay would sometimes seep through the vents, but Gacy blamed it on sewage. Victims were often young, homeless, or forgotten. He thought no one would miss them. He was almost right. The police never came. The community praised him. While beneath his floor, innocent boys lay buried in silence. It wasn't just murder, it was a method. A calculated system of death, hidden in the most ordinary-looking house in Chicago. Gacy had a pattern. He targeted boys aged 14 to 21. Many were runaways, lured with promises of food or work. He offered money, alcohol, and drugs, whatever it took. Then came the handcuffs, then the rope, then silence. Gacy took trophies, IDs, clothes, and sometimes even skulls. He was proud of his work. He saw murder as power. But the more he killed, the more careless he became. The disappearances were stacking up, and the police were starting to notice. The monster behind the mask was finally slipping up. On December 11, 1978, 15-year-old Robert Piest vanished after meeting Gacy about a construction job. His mother waited outside in the car. He never returned. This time, people noticed. Robert wasn't a runaway. He had a loving family. His disappearance led police straight to Gacy. They searched his house, but found only suspicious clues. A class ring, a police badge, and that awful smell. But they needed more, so they followed him. Gacy knew they were watching and began to unravel. After days of surveillance, Gacy finally cracked. On December 21st, he confessed. He told police about the murders, about the crawl space, about the boys he buried. 33 victims, each story more horrifying than the last. The officers who entered his home were never the same. The smell, the photos, the shallow graves, it was hell on earth. His calm, cold confession shocked even seasoned detectives. The community was in disbelief. The smiling clown had become a national nightmare. Justice was coming. In 1980, John Wayne Gacy was sentenced to death. His trial was one of the biggest in American history. He showed no remorse, smiling, joking, even painting clowns in prison. He blamed his victims, blamed society, blamed his childhood. But the evidence was overwhelming. 33 confirmed kills. Dozens of lives destroyed, families broken. For 14 years, he sat on death row. And even there, he remained a monster, painting clowns, giving interviews, craving attention. But the clock was ticking. On May 10, 1994, Gacy was executed by lethal injection. His last words, "Kiss my ass." The house where he buried his victims was torn down. Nothing remains there now, but the trauma still echoes. Gacy changed how America viewed killers. No longer just strangers in alleys, but smiling faces in our neighborhoods. He was a warning and nightmare wearing a clown's face. For the families left behind, justice was never enough. Because no sentence can return the lives stolen by the killer clown. Evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes, it wears a smile.